And good afternoon, everybody. Steve Schmidt with the warning, with my friend, the one, the only, Dean Blundell. Dean, how you doing?
I'm really good. We tend to gloss over it, but we're baseball season opening day, Blue Jays today.
Blue Jays
So yeah,
opening day today. It's great.
yeah,
New baseball season is here.
right. It's when we have the dirge, when we're going through the dirge, and we'll go through the dirge today, and all the things that tend to get us down. Baseball's this sliver of happiness in my life. It's like every time we go to the ballpark, every single time we show up to the Rogers Center, and we grab a pint and we sit in our seats. Closed roof, open roof, doesn't matter to me. It's like nothing else matters. So opening day today, Steve, I couldn't be more excited.
Opening day today. The Blue Jays are going to be good. It's going to be a good year.
I think so.
It's going to be a good year.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. A lot going on. So we're going to be together on Mondays
Mm-hmm.
and then again on Fridays. And on Mondays, we're going to take a look at the Sunday shows.
Okay.
And then on Fridays, we're going to look at the week in review.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we're going to kind of look back at some of the stories that should be covered,
Mm-hmm.
but have been uncovered by our corporate media,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
by the television networks, by the
Caught and
cable
killed.
networks,
Yeah.
caught and killed. That we just don't see this stuff.
And let me ask you something before we get started,
Yeah.
because and one of the things that the number one conversation I have with people who I meet, and they're like, "Oh, you're you." Why is it that you guys talk about things that nobody else talks about, including in the news? Why do I watch you or listen to you? Why do I? Why are you capable of doing the job? Why are people like you and Steve, or you and Denver Riggleman, or you and Ken Harbaugh, or the Save America movement? Why am I getting my news from you
Mhm.
guys? And that's why we've created this. And I think it's really worth kind of pointing out, is creating this segment called Dead Air, whether we do it on Mondays with me or we do it on Steve Mondays. Oh, did we lose me? There we go.
Oh, there you are.
Back. Gotcha. Thanks, guys. Monday, we look back on the shit that everybody missed, or the lies that everybody told, or the gaslighting from state media. I've never seen anything like it. Never in my life. Someone that's been in mainstream media for 20 years, someone who understands, the premise of clickbait, someone who gets the purpose of informing people, someone who lives in Canada, where we do have a national broadcaster, and that national broadcaster exists as a service for people in remote areas. Like the things that are like CBS News
Mhm.
Radio, which
Mhm.
just got tanked. And that's the one thing, in the world of boiled frogs, when it comes to mainstream media, a lot of people don't understand, but we see it in the analytics. We see it with subscribers. We see it with people saying, I had no idea. And when people like us take a minute to go, okay, here's what you were lied to about.
Mhm.
Here's what you were encouraged to look away from. And here's the stuff they just flat out refuse to talk about,
Mhm.
because we don't live in an era of free media. I would argue that we probably never did, with the funneling of different, organizations and businesses and boards that served at the pleasure of their executive relationships, Steve, because you know that, and I know that. I know where you're from, you know where I'm from. We understand who the board members are, the ownership of media, and that end run that's going on in the United States right now with the Ellison Group, with Skydance, with CBS, with Donald Trump, with TikTok. This is a time, golden age of media doesn't exist. This is a time when Donald Trump and his regime, they know one thing and one thing only. If you control the messaging, you control people's reality, which is the purpose of why we're going to be doing these on Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah, I mean, journalistic or journalism ethics, as it was understood. I mean, it's become a version of what Pastor Paula is to Christianity.
Mm.
Right, when she gets up there doing the tongue speaking and the laying of the hands on Trump, does the kaka 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 laka kaka kaka kaka, and and everyone's going wild and all this stuff, right?
Hands
That's
up,
what
eyes
we're
closed.
right, and it's like a CBS, right? It's the ratings are at the lowest they've been in the 21st century. some of the record lows ever. So people aren't watching it. People are turning it off.
Yeah.
Yet still, all of it in its accumulation shapes this mosaic, this narrative that we're forced to endure through, where Trump is the dominant figure, the American Nero, an imbecile in reality who, in his bubble of sycophants, is a hero, is a genius, is a Napoleon, is a conqueror, not an addled 80-year-old with dementia and giant cankles. And so it's a crazy time, to say the least. But in any time, there's one thing, the rhythm of how we do these, we didn't have a chance to, sometimes, the rapidity of the screen is moving.
You're like me on these things where something
Okay,
happens and you're
wow.
like, I've lost
It's
all attention.
moving. No, it's like, hey there.
Well, that rapidity you talk
Right,
about and that sim that you talk about
right,
is never more evident. I mean, the Trump thing, that's one thing. The Hegseth thing is another thing. Junior, we'll talk about him in a
right.
second. Uday and Kusei, we'll get to the sim around them being business guys. But maybe the greatest end run when it comes to this gaslighting sim of the Trump regime,
Yeah,
where every media entity is bought in,
yeah,
every business, every streaming platform is
yeah,
bought in to the idea that Melania Trump
yeah.
is some kind of visionary, some woman who just bootstrapped herself from the mean streets of Slovakia to make her way over to experience the American dream. I've got a full bio on her history and that laser focus about how she got to the top. We didn't get to that clip last week.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's incredible. She's an inspiration to us all. Well, at any rate, what made me think of her was this new clip of her and this robot. And I don't know if you've seen this, but I think we have this, and it's Melania and this robot
Yeah.
coming out there. Look at this. This is something. Look at this.
Knowledge
There's
is the foundation of civilization.
wow.
But although academia is interesting, business is compelling. For real growth in technology and education, I encourage you to bring the private and public sector worlds together.
That's beautiful. It's incredible. What a leader. What a leader.
Can we
But
get a little context behind that? So Melania Trump is being pushed to the front of the sim line as an AI visionary and like an automation genius, right? Someone
right.
who understands that automation is going to help the world. And so she's been presented as this crypto maven too. We'll get to how much money she's made, but she was put out there to have this self-teaching robot called Plato. And she's sitting next to, I don't know if you saw, Bridget Macron sitting next to her with this look on her face like, I cannot fucking believe I have to do this. Like
And that's the thing, right, about these jobs,
yeah,
right? Like somebody may think,
yeah,
or someone's spouse may be part of a conversation that, my husband or my wife is going to run for president. And if that happens, you wind up like Bridget Macron, and she's a prisoner. There's nothing she can do to escape. She's there. Like there's nothing she
nowhere
can
to go.
like to get out, right?
Yeah,
Just other than kicking over the table and be like, fuck it, like I'm not doing it anymore. Right? Like that's why Michelle Obama at the funeral, right? Wherever it was, that Michelle Obama was like, I'm not going.
yeah.
Right. There was some event that she didn't want to go to.
Hmm.
And I'm totally with her on it. She didn't want to go, but Bridget Macron right there, there's
Hmm.
nothing she can do. And she's sitting next to Melania and she's thinking like, why is she dressed like a fucking ice cream man? Like, why is she dressed like she's in Pastor Paula's choir,
Yeah.
right? In this all white virginal
Pantsuit.
outfit, in this beautiful white pantsuit, as I
Yeah.
guess as we approach the virgin birth and Easter, it's appropriate for Melania.
I didn't put that
But
together. Yeah, it's a good idea.
but at any rate, we were, even before she came out with the robot, it made the history that we just watched, which was incredible.
And let me just say this as a
Right?
spokesperson, delivering in English language, the
Yeah.
future of teaching, you'd want the person who's going to deliver that English language message to be able to speak and read English. But anyway, that's just a quick aside. Sorry, continue.
But there's this other clip
Yes.
of her talking about her life, and I think it's really telling
As a
because
visionary, I know success is not born overnight, but rather takes shape after a long and sometimes challenging process. Often alone at the top, I follow my passion, listen to my instinct, and always maintain a laser focus. In solitude, my creative mind dances, filling my imagination
mind
with
dances.
originality.
she's I like it when she's like, my creative mind dances. And alone at the top and talking about the solitary. I guess
Yeah.
on her way to the top,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fair to say she was alone on top. Shouldn't be. But at any rate, it's incredible because here's the deal with these people.
Yeah.
It's in the world that they inhabit. The people around her, like, she's a visionary.
Yes.
Like the people who were like, you'll look good with this robot. Right? Who, by the way, cut her off just like Trump does.
Did you see that? Yeah.
Right? Like that robot fucking cut her off just like Trump did. It was like the Trump robot. Like, yeah, I can't see you. I cannot see you.
I'll hold your hand until people see me, then I'll walk in front of you.
Woman is
Melania.
invisible in Slovenia. So at any rate, incredible. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that robot, cuts her right off. Like,
Right.
like it's like a Donald model. Right? It's going to
Go
walk
on,
right
Mike.
in front of her, and it's incredible. But the white's amazing, right? So she's
Mike.
dressed.
Yeah, Mike. I just want to keep that clip going because you don't even need to have audio for her terrible fucking explanation and the fact she can't read. I just need you to look at Brigitte Macron's face. Wow, like watch your face.
Look at her. What can she do? There's nowhere to go. She can't even look up. She's a total thing. And what I'd also say about Melania here is that, do you think that they match the outfit to the robot?
I do. Yeah.
But
I think she probably had a couple of different like outfit changes there. She probably was like, I look too much like the robot, because if you look at the robot body and Melania's body, eerily similar, off-white, white. She's like, I can't wear the same thing as the robot, so you're gonna have to put me in something cream colored. But yeah, I mean, you like, they're both walking out like, I say both, like the robot's a fucking human. It's not.
But you wouldn't go. But you wouldn't, if you were back there. You wouldn't be like, you should wear red. Like, you might clash with the carpet a little bit, but like, you wouldn't like wear red or orange or even a blue, like something to pop against in contrast. I mean, she is got. Well, I guess it is a cream. It is.
Yeah. It's a nice. It's an April cream. But listen, who are we to say, right, Steve? She's the visionary. She's laser focused. She uses her instincts to dress.
Which is the thing, is that everyone around them actually is telling them that you're a visionary. Right? That's what they say to her. They're like, you are alone.
Yeah.
And she probably is like, I will be alone now. I will be alone. Right? Like, leave me. Leave me. And Barron, we'll talk about him later, but this Melania stuff is amazing.
Well, and And listen,
Beautiful too.
I did a little research, right? You
Yeah.
know, just to kind of combat or juxtapose the idea that she herself is telling everybody she's a visionary and she uses her instincts and stays laser focused on the things that matter. Just a quick recap. She was literally picked out of Eastern Europe as a model at 16 years old by Paolo Zampoli. Paolo Zampoli is now a special envoy to Donald Trump. Now, why is he a special envoy to Donald Trump? Paolo Zampoli helped build E=MC² model agency with Jean-Luc Brunel and Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein met
Just a
Melania.
shady name.
No, Paolo
Right?
Zampoli.
Oh yeah. Right. As soon as you hear the name, you're like, that guy,
Yeah.
not up to good.
No, he's up to no good. And Paolo Zampoli, not only up to no good, but he's got presidential protection now for the Epstein files. Really important. So Paolo Zampoli really, for all intents and purposes, was a pimp to young European girls who created that pipeline for very rich, wealthy Western American men. And so that was really the beginnings or the start of the Epstein sex trafficking ring. There was, trafficking versions of it. There was an espionage version to it where, you'll see, and you can go through the actual Rolodex. You know this as well as I do. There are a lot of GOP guys, a lot of lobby guys, a lot of finance guys that are wrapped up in this that have married Eastern European women. Now, the key stroke here of how Melania got to the top with the laser focus is she dated Jeffrey Epstein for a year before she was introduced to Donald Trump. And then a year after Donald Trump, there's a little picture of a check where Jeffrey Epstein says, I've given this woman to Donald Trump for $22,000. That is widely believed to be Melania Trump, because a year later it was announced that they were together. And since they've been together, they've had to rejig their prenup 3 times, right? Since they've been together, she's come into the knowledge that Donald Trump is who he is, because she comes from that world. That's where she came from. So when she talks about how she got to the top with laser focus and instinct, that is the Coles Notes or the Cliff's Notes version of how Melania Trump went from being a 16, 17-year-old model in Slovakia to being the first lady and apparently a champion for AI, an award-winning movie producer and actress, and someone who this year alone has made close to $300 million with her Melania coin, with her movie deal, with licensing deals, with speech fees, et cetera, et cetera. This woman
This is beautiful, though.
Yeah,
this is the best. I'm going to tell you right now. Like, if you want to get something beautiful for someone for $600, I think you can get this beautiful Melania necklace. And by the way, and I don't mean to nitpick. The Slovakians are good people,
very good
people.
Yeah.
They're not responsible for Melania. That's the Slovenians.
Oh, sorry, Slovenians.
The Slovenians.
Yes.
And I was thinking of that outfit before we go on, that beautiful cream. It's that if you go to Lake Bled in Slovenia, is that one of the things that Lake Bled is famous for is its cream cake. And the color of that cake, is exactly a match for that outfit. But a Lake Bled cream cake, you can go to Lake Bled, beautiful lake with the castle in it in Slovenia.
You get a cake that looks like Melania.
Home of Melania, who made it out of Slovenia all the way to New York City. But another thing that people say, it's a lot bigger than just Melania out there. But I don't know if you've heard this up in Canada, but apparently there's some corruption around Donald Trump in the White House, and some stuff going on there.
Yes, I have.
And yeah.
I have. The necklace being one thing, her corruption being another thing. I don't know if you've been paying attention to how Donald Trump and his sons have been effectively rolling up the military industrial complex in the United States of America while conducting a war in Iran. A couple of things happened yesterday in this week specifically. Yesterday, and maybe you can tell me how this works, being a former presidential advisor and someone who understands how this works much more deeply than someone like me understands how this works. But Donald Trump was able to literally pull $1.25 billion from the Treasury yesterday and put it into his Board of Peace Fund. Now, he is the sole owner of the Board of Peace. He is chairman for life. There is no transparency. There is no oversight. This is supposed to go to rebuilding Gaza. It's money laundering, as you know. He's got a collection of assholes, petrostate, destroyed third world economies that have joined the Board of Peace as well. So
I can't even believe there's such a fucking thing, right? That it exists in the first place. But go ahead.
No,
Yes,
I can't either.
Right?
I mean, nobody can. Like Mark
Board of
Carney was
Peace.
kicked out of the Board of Peace because Mark's like, listen, we're not going to pay you, but if you want me to come to a meeting, I will. And he's like, fuck
no
you,
Board
Mark
of
Carney.
Peace for you.
Yeah,
No Board of Peace for you.
So it costs $1 billion to get in the Board of Peace, but that literally happened yesterday. That's 1.2 billion, 2.5 billion of your tax dollars. Like, just hey, you put that money in this bank account. Boom, it happened. They took it from disaster relief. They took it from FEMA. They took it from peacekeeping patrols. They took it from healthcare. They just grabbed as much money as they could and handed to Donald Trump, 1.25 billion. So that happened yesterday. But there's been this other story that's brewing. They came with a subpoena that got squashed. I don't know if you watched that the other day. We had Stansbury try to subpoena Donald Trump Jr. because Donald Trump Jr. owns a fund with his brother called 1789. He also owns another fund called the Founders Fund. They also own another fund with Peter Thiel. They own another fund. I believe that fund is called America Trust. These three funds own 32 pieces of 32 different drone, AI, and automation companies. 32 that are sole source to the United States of America. And in the last calendar year, these three funds have managed to secure contracts for drone technology, targeting technology, surveillance technology. This is a true story from the government of the United States of America with his dad's signature on the check, Uday and Kusei, for over $2 billion. And it gets worse. If you are in the business of surveillance, you're in the business of automation, and you're not attached to any of the Trump kids, you're not attached to the regime, you're not willing to pay fealty, there is no way you're going to be able to conduct business in the United States of America. They own it. They own it. They own the procurement process. They own the military-industrial complex. If you want a drone, if you want a motor, if you want surveillance technology, there's 4 people you have to go through. One is named Peter Thiel. The other 2 are Uday and Kusei Jr., and the other guy is Donald Trump Jr. If you don't play by those rules, you don't get in. Now, these companies are startups. Have you ever heard of a 30-person startup? I myself have not. Power Us, Unusual Machines, the 2 biggest companies that he bought into, plus a rare earth magnet company called Vulcan. The government of the United States of America just handed Donald Trump Jr., based on his involvement with this company, sole source, no bids, no RFPs, Steve, for $620 million. It kind of makes Melania's necklace, $600 necklace, look like a fucking joke.
Yeah, you think like when they're together, that like Junior's like looks at her and is like, "You're nothing." Like you
don't know how to do this.
You sell your necklace for $600.
Yeah, you and your stupid necklace. We own the drone industry
for $620 million.
It's just bananas. Like, I mean, it's not only the fact that they own Power Us, not only the fact they own Unusual Machines. It's not only the fact that they own the rare earth companies. They own all the contracts that go into building what this new drone technology will mean to the United States. And here's the catch. 11 days before the Iran war started, which everybody was telling Donald Trump and his family not to start, 11 days, that is when they executed the deal. The deal for Extend with the Israeli company, the deal for Power Us, and the $620 million. That was 11 days before the war started. And listen, and you and I both know how the United States procurement process works, same as it works in Canada. You're good at your job, you're capable of doing the job, and do you know the right guys? right? Do you know the right people? This is not that. This is, there are 4 people that you're going to go through, and they're going to have a taste and a touch from absolutely everything the United States does when it comes to drone warfare, automated warfare, surveillance, and technology. And the Trump regime, while telling everybody to look the other way, while getting Melania to go and stand with robots, while filling her pockets, the Trump regime is also filling the pockets of their family, making it impossible, no matter what happens to Donald Trump in 2026, impossible for you to buy around them when they're gone. Impossible not for you to do business with the Trump family because they own all the contracts.
Without question, the first thing a Democratic president has to do is purge the Trump family out of all of these contracts immediately upon taking office.
Can they, though?
And a full review. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but stripping them of their security clearances. If it comes down to it, you nationalize the companies. I think SpaceX should be nationalized. Can have a pernicious influence, a non-state actor, a trillionaire with the power that Elon Musk has, as enmeshed as he is in the government, and as corruptly as he is enmeshed in the government.
Mm.
No, but this is all incredible. And of course, what we're talking about is the military. We have crazy Pete Hegseth with another one of these snake handling pastors who gets up there at the Pentagon and starts talking about, I think we have a clip on this, but starts talking about, please God, we got to have maximum violence. Mm-hmm. Right. We got to have
the name of Jesus,
killing in the name of Jesus. And all of this insanity. I think we might have this clip. Do we have this?
I'm grateful for so much leadership that we see here who put their faith not in chariots, who put their faith in the King of Kings. And in a place like this, it has a lot of chariots and a lot of capabilities, and they're beautiful, and we love them, and we use them to the best of our ability. We understand who the author of all things truly is. And may we submit to him in these moments when we are tempted to be consumed by our own capabilities and our own missions, that we may put it humbly.
He's talking about Trump, right?
No, he's talking about Jesus Christ.
There's another clip apparently where I don't know if we have it or
do we have a mic
where we have
the other clip
about
we don't have the other clip, Steve. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, but it's incredible. We got Pete Hegseth waging the war, and what's incredible about the war that people really aren't talking about is the fact that the Iranians have achieved in 3 weeks of fighting what they could not achieve in 15 years of negotiating. So the United States has waived the embargoes, has waived the sanctions on the Iranian oil so as not to disrupt or further disrupt the price of global energy markets, raising oil higher. So after a decade and a half of negotiating by the Iranians, they finally got relief in 3 weeks by fighting, by closing the Strait of Hormuz. So that's the lesson. And by the way, when Trump talks about the amount of money that went to Iran from the unfreezing of their assets in the United States, so as part of the Iran nuclear deal, it's a pittance compared to the amount of money both the Iranians and the Russians are making on oil at $115, $116 a barrel and climbing higher every day. Now you have disruptions of fertilizer, of all of the elements that you need for harvest a few months from now. And so there's a real disaster brewing out there. But at any rate, the Iranians are a terrible regime.
Mhm.
despotic, evil state sponsors of terror. But for a decade and a half, starting with President Obama, the Iranians were at the negotiating table. The Iranians were begging for relief that Trump just gave them as a necessity of the consequences of the war started by Trump against the people he just relieved from the sanctions. It is fucking madness.
It's crazy, dude.
Just complete incoherent madness.
But this is the stuff. This is why we have these conversations, right? It's because these are conversations and these are nuances that nobody talks about when they're reporting on a war in Iran. They're not talking about the philosophical ideals of the Iranian people. They're not talking about the fact that Iran has been sanctioned for the better part of 40 years. And now they can do what they want. They control what they want. They control their own destiny. They're not talking about the fact that not only is this corrupt regime totally unprepared to fight this war, but they're totally unprepared to fight the philosophy behind this war that Iran holds dear. They got 1 million people, the Bashi. 1 million hardcore volunteer Muslim soldiers are currently standing across from Karg Island waiting for orders to go and attack. 2,200 infantrymen and women, paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne, 2,200 of them. Some of the most highly trained Delta Force people, they're going to be sent into a meat grinder. We had Malcolm Nance on last week and talking about the kill box. Yeah, of course, Hormuz is a kill box. Absolutely. You cannot get in and around that archipelago of that 3 to 6 mile 3 to 6 mile stretch. Yeah, without the fact that without Iran letting you do it. And they're charging people $2 million per boat right now. And now they're turning everybody away today. There was a new story that happened today. But they're in control of the region. That's what a lot of people don't understand, is that if Donald Trump does this, let's just say he does invade Karg Island. Let's just say God's greatest warrior, Pete Hegseth, is successful. Let's just say that, okay? And they go in and they conduct an operation where they take Karg Island. They control 90% of the oil, which they won't. They'll lose. It'll be a slaughter. We all know that. Every major general, every person worth their salt, McChrystal to Manor, every single one of them. We'll get to Manor in just a second because this is truly unbelievable. Every single person said the same thing. You are sending these young people to your death and you are going to destroy the world order. All the GCC countries are going to have to fend for themselves, because what people don't understand is proper America, better America back in the day, it was the security guarantee for all of those Gulf states. Well, that security guarantee will be gone if he goes and attacks Karg Island, because they will lose. And then you're talking about petrodollars getting lit on fire. Then you're talking about a new world order where there is no order. And Iran has complete control of the area. 93 million people, 90% of, they control the Strait of Hormuz. Saudi Arabia, every Gulf state's going to have to say, please, Iran, please. And then they're going to be able to set those rules because the United States will be gone. There are no more U.S. bases in that region. They've decimated all of them, every single one of them. And to that point, they're also being led by a guy who thinks he's conducting a holy war, Steve. And there's a clip. I don't know if you saw it. I want to play it right now. I think we've had it. This is General Manor talking about Pete Hegseth after watching a clip of Pete Hegseth, the kind of one that we just watched, but all about blood and death, and we're going to rain terror on our enemies. Let's play that clip, because this is why the Kakistocracy will lose if they do attack Karg Island. Let's watch this together.
We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country.
Those are the words of a potential war criminal, right there.
Not good. Not good.
No, not good at all. I mean, I listen, there is no difference to me. I would love your thoughts on this, Steve. Is there a difference now between the Iranian regime, hardline Muslim regime, and the hardline evangelical Trump regime with that kind of rhetoric and this kind of stupidity? What's the difference?
I mean, I think that the Iranian regime is singular in its evil, and so this is a regime that has killed 10,000 or 20 or 30,000 of its own citizens within the last couple of months, right? The Trump regime hasn't done that. It's killed 2 or 4 or 6 or 8 or 10, right? Those two things aren't symmetrical. You know, the Trump regime isn't one of the leading state sponsors of terrorism around the world for the last 47 years, but on a day-to-day basis, when it comes to whose word can you trust to understand a fact. For instance, when Trump says, I'm negotiating with the Iranians, and the Iranians say, yeah, he's not, right? The despotic, evil Iranians, either they're telling the truth or Trump is telling the truth. And I'd put it all into the middle of the table that it's the Iranians who are telling the truth.
Is that hard for you?
Astonishing,
right?
Astonishing thing to comprehend and to admit. But by word alone, we should not judge the evils of the Iranian regime, right? They do a lot of terrible, malignant things, and it would be great if the regime would fall. But what Trump has achieved here likely is a hardening of the regime, a more extreme regime. The regime which is going to survive knows where the 468 kilograms of uranium are, and they're going to race to get a nuclear weapon. This is Kim Jong-un understands this. If you have 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 nuclear weapons, and better yet, you can get them onto the top of a ballistic missile, you're immune from an American attack. But the whole premise for what you were talking about earlier here is that the Iranian threat has always been, we can shut down the Strait of Hormuz. And the United States Navy's response has been, no, you can't. The Navy would open the Strait of Hormuz. And the United States Navy has not been able to open the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranians control the Strait of Hormuz. And there is nothing that anybody can do about that except through negotiating with the Iranians, whose position is now, having been tested, is strengthened here. And when you talk about an American invasion of 5,000 or 7,200 troops of a country with 93 million to take possession of a Karg Island, or to take possession, which you would have to do, of the adjacent airports, it requires having control of the high ground on the mountains above that at 7,000 feet. And that's a significant challenge. How will we resupply this? All of the answers that come after the first boot hits the ground involve a response that includes the element of, well, we need more. We need more guys. More guys, more guys, more guys, more guys.
Didn't Vietnam start with 3,000 guys?
Vietnam started in 1959, were the first kind of recorded casualties. You had a few thousand advisors, and then you had the Marines land in 1965 after the Gulf of Tonkin incident. So again, right, the trajectory towards escalation is a function of the calculation that if you leave, having been unable to achieve what you set out to do, you'll lose the war today, and it's better to fight on. So at least you don't lose the war today. The loss will be later, maybe even on someone else's watch.
Yeah. Well, and it's an amazing point, Steve, because there's no way out, and so that way out is their only way out, which is to continue. Some of the things that happened this week that nobody knew about for 2 weeks. One of them was card bases. There's a tweet from Rosemary. Let's put this on the screen if we can. It's from New York Times. I wrote a piece about it. I believe there were 13 installations in the Gulf up until Trump decided to start this ill-fated military adventurism in the region. There are now 0. They are uninhabitable. There are 50,000 men and women who have been posted to that area that are operating out of basements, hotels, office spaces, clandestine locations, because there isn't a singular base that is habitable in the region. So there's that. Then I want to get to not just unprepared to start the war, unprepared for munitions, unprepared for the response by Iran. And it tells a story, USS Ford, that is currently now not only a sewage failure, because they've got, I think it was 42 times in 2025 alone, that, and this has been the longest deployment since Vietnam. It's been out for 11 months, is now in Port and Crete because it is inoperable and it has to be fixed enough to be able to make a journey back to the United States to spend not 1, but 2 years in port to get it operable again. The USS Abraham Lincoln hit so hard it is now out of munitions to defend itself, so it is in the Indian Ocean. That is from the Wall Street Journal. And then, of course, France 24 actually put a picture of it, how Ford is back in Crete, docked at Ceuta Bay. It has been pulled from active Iran war ops, and that only carrier in the theater is the USS Abraham Lincoln, which is in the Indian Ocean and is nowhere near trouble because they cannot defend it. They don't have the munitions to defend it. And so now what? Now what? Now what? And that's the question that a lot of military minds, and I'm not one of them, keep that in mind, are looking at when you think about this invasion of Karg Island, Steve. And that invasion of Karg Island is going to include not operating out of any bases because there are no bases that they can operate out of. So that makes the journey even more perilous, even longer. And they can't get the Strait of Hormuz, and these massive ships were never going to get through the strait anyway. None of these carriers could make it through the strait. They got pounded sitting there in the first place, right? So the strait's locked. The only way you're going to get into Karg Island is going to be to drop troops into Karg Island or an amphibious assault from Oman. And Iran's not going to let that happen. They have 7 or 8 different deterrents that they can fill it up with in a second. They'll just pick guys out of the sky and they'll blow up the runway. They'll blow up their own oil refineries. They don't care. They don't care if oil goes to $200 a barrel. And to that point, a religious economy, a hardship economy like that, they don't care what happens to their people. So, and neither do the people. They'll run into harm's way. They're not doing this for Donald Trump. They're not doing this for military adventurism. They're not doing this because hoosah, let's go get them. They're doing this because they believe that it is their religious right. They are martyrs, and it is the greatest honor of their lifetime to die in battle. So, how in your mind, considering all of these things, how is it possible? How is it possible for the greatest military in the world to A, win this war, B, backpedal out of this war? How?
Well, I mean, the war has long been understood as an extension of diplomacy. And it's the space where diplomacy fails. And so we've had a decade through multiple presidencies, decade and a half of diplomacy with Iran. It used to be very contentious, even if you would discuss, have negotiations with Iran, if you would dare to have contact between the U.S. and the government of Iran. And what's happened? You've had a war begun by the United States that has achieved none of the objectives laid out by the United States, that has strengthened the hand of the Iranian regime. The goal of the Iranian regime was not to preserve the Iranian Navy. It was not to preserve the lives even of Iranian leaders. It was to preserve the rule of the Iranian regime, which is why they killed upwards of 30,000 people within the last few months. And the Iranian regime has shown its staying power by taking control of the Strait of Hormuz, which has claim on being the most vital waterway in the world for a variety of reasons. And most of the consequences for it being closed, all of which empower Iran, come later. The world's food supply is dependent on the access of ships carrying fertilizer through the Strait of Hormuz. And absent that, you're going to have hunger, you're going to have starvation. So all of these issues, Iran has been rehabilitated at a moment of unparalleled weakness by Trump's foolishness and overreach. And so with each issue that's exposed, right, the challenge isn't about, frankly, which Democrat in the next election has the best Twitter. It's about who's got a plan for a fucked up U.S. Navy. Aircraft carriers are not what they used to be in the era of the drone, so to speak. The United States has traditionally had a small army. We've always had a powerful Navy. Right? United States, as a powerful nation, requires a powerful Navy. And what we've seen here is the limits of American naval power. And can you imagine, looking at this debacle, what a war would look like in the Western Pacific? And the reality is, with the expenditure of over 800 Tomahawk missiles, when we build a few dozen a year, in an arsenal at the most that had 3,000, America's not in a position to fight a war of the type that America imagines itself as having maybe necessarily to fight. So it's a debacle at every conceivable level. At every level. At every level.
Yeah, there's it's just bulkhead after bulkhead when you think about any kind of solution here for the United States of America. I keep running into, because I try to think things away. I try to understand, well, what are Trump's options? Trump doesn't have an option to get out because his ego won't let him. He's looking for an Iwo Jima moment on one of those 10, 15 different islands in the Hormuz Strait. He's looking to be the guy that opens the Hormuz Strait. And a report this morning saying he's already getting bored of Iran, which is like, whatever. We'll save that for another day, how that guy gets bored. But it is impossible for me, sitting here as a Canadian, and I've been shocked by things. It's impossible for me to think that the greatest military power, maybe in the history of humanity, is getting its ass kicked by Iran in the Hormuz Strait, is being threatened, has destroyed any ability that they have to actually secure that strait for humanity's sake, right? But what's even more egregious is how Donald Trump is using this to drive up oil prices, how he's managing the markets. 5 days, we're going to take 5 days off, coincides with the week. Someone makes $580 million on a $1.5 billion futures bet 10 minutes before the markets open, that had access to this, thought to be one of the Trump kids, going back to them and that corruption, is that they still look for opportunities to enrich themselves in one of the most dangerous moments in the history of the United States.
Yeah.
There's,
nobody should underestimate the ability of the United States to open the Strait of Hormuz. We can open the Strait of Hormuz.
Why haven't we?
We have not, because Trump does not want to do any of the things that are required to do to open the Strait of Hormuz. So he's dithering.
Mm-hmm.
And the necessity of opening the Strait of Hormuz requires probably significant casualties. And Trump has already said the war is won. And even Trump probably has some appreciation of the limitations of his bullshit. Right. And I'll give you a perfect example. It's the last thing I want to talk about. We were talking about this before. It drives me crazy. If I die tonight, I want when you speak at the funeral that you can say is, this is one of the last things I was focused on. So I think this is such a metaphor for the stupidity of this age and this war. And the Save America movement had a position on this, and I'm very proud of the position. I'm proud of the advertising. I'm proud of the advertising that we ran in Washington D.C. at Chuck Schumer, demanding of Democrats that they draw a line, that they make a stand, that they hold the line on this shutdown of funding for DHS.
Mm-hmm.
That they not fund DHS until the government agrees, till Trump agrees, no more masks for the ICE agents. No masks. A very simple proposition.
Doing it at the airport.
Right? And so federal judges don't wear masks. Prosecutors of El Chapo don't wear masks. Or the biggest mobsters don't wear masks. Right? The Ku Klux Klan wears masks.
Yes, sir.
Right? It's a terrible, terrible, terrible legacy with masks. Right? Good guys don't wear masks.
Correct.
Government is shut down because the Democrats have made a stand that ICE must not wear masks. And Trump has said ICE must wear masks. And then Trump says we have to send ICE to the airports. And ICE at the airports
Nice.
is nice.
Mm.
Is nice. ICE in Minneapolis will kill you, but in the airports they're great. They're going to hold you line.
Yeah. O'Hare.
Line while you take a leak, right? Where you go get an Auntie Anne's delicious pretzel.
Little booster
You go
juice.
get like a little booster juice, right? ICE is going to do it for you. Look at them there. On top, it's ICE, and on the bottom, it's nice.
Yeah.
But now
It's crazy.
the government they're in the airports with the masks off.
Yeah.
In a shutdown over them keeping their masks on.
It's truly amazing, isn't it? You take the masks off, everybody becomes nicer because they know who you are, right? These guys at the airport, a buddy of mine was at an airport in Arizona, runs into some of these guys. He's like, hey, how you doing? Guys, we're good. How are you? Where are you from? Canada. Oh, cool. How long you been an ICE officer? Yeah. 4 months. Do you enjoy it? Not really. This has been a welcome break, the guy says to him. And then you know what he did? He's like, hey, I'm going to shake your hand, take your picture with you. He goes, absolutely. He goes, it's so nice to be able to finally take pictures with people. And he's like, none of these guys wanted to be here. There's a group of like 4 or 5 of them.
He's like, yeah, it's like 47 days of training. It's amazing in honor of the 47th president. Hail
yeah, we get to help people. We get to help people with their baggage, and we get to they're handing out water bottles, buying people ice cream at O'Hare the other day. It's fucking amazing.
And speaking of one of the great heroes of ICE, there is a titan of iceness, not niceness, the one, the only, the diminutive Greg Bovino, who is now retired from ICE, and he has put on a new jersey, a new uniform. He has put on the uniform of CPAC. Greg Bovino is at CPAC. He gave a speech, and it's interesting because he's on the stage and he's very small.
They just hustle these guys around, don't they?
They hustle these guys around, but we have a video from CPAC, I understand, that was made by the Save America movement. We had a camera in there, and I think we have a little bit of taste of some of the video that we have on CPAC. And I know that you were unable to go this year, Dean.
It crushed me. I have seen a clip of this, and I have something to say when we're done. But, ladies and gentlemen, these are the people that put Donald Trump in office.
Right. These are the people who, in a lot of ways, rule over us. So let's bring it back to the beginning.
Grapevine, Texas. It's CPAC 2026.
But don't worry about thousands of conservatives getting together.
It's not a political conference. It's a clown show. Old clowns, young clowns, tiny hat clowns, cosplay clowns, Brazilian clowns, Korean clowns, Persian clowns, super clown, pillow clown, dogs, nuns, whatever this guy's doing. Why face the destruction you've caused when you can live it up with water gun fun and rock out with sequins, 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 sequins. Over here, over there, everyone has sequins. Don't own any? No problem. This one's only $600.
Need more merch? CPAC's got it.
Keychains, cigars, money, art, rubber ducks, other rubber ducks, stuffed rubber ducks. Want to honor the memory of Charlie Kirk? How about this $225 craft project? Grift, you say? Don't forget the gold, the pills, and the shaky feet boards.
Lady singing the anthem and walking in a graveyard. Check. Fake UN nonsense. Check. Now we're having fun.
There may not be many ideas being shared at CPAC, but here's one worth getting behind.
Make heaven crowded, bro. There is some, like, buddy, you know I love you. You know I love Americans.
Yeah.
There's something fucking wrong with your country.
Yeah.
I watched that and I'm like, what the fuck happened to the United States?
What would you say if you were just to throw out a number of like what the mental illness rate is? Like severe mental illness, right? Like if you were just like with therapists, right? Like not necessarily what's wrong with the person, just like this, I mean, they have severe mental illness.
Like delusion.
Type or stripe. Like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with them, right? But it's something, right?
Yeah, like any kind of like certifiable psychopathy.
Yeah,
what
like
is it?
That you're officially on that certifiable line. What do you think that number is at CPAC?
Oh, at CPAC, I was going to say in the United States of America, it's got to be a solid 70-30 in the favor of not stunned. But I would say 80%. I mean,
yeah, that's my
80% of the people.
80% of the people there just certified.
It blows my mind. Watching that whole thing, it's a costume party. It's cosplaying, right? It's people that believe in this fucking magic story. Thank you for showing me that. I appreciate it. Make sure you send it to me so I can put it out on my Substack. That is unbelievable.
Well,
Hi, the grand old party. As a guy that served in the grand old party, that's got to make you feel like $1 million.
Oh, it's good. And it's, of course, Matt Schlapp. If he can keep himself from getting handsy at one of these things, it's a victory for CPAC, right? And in these recent times of trouble. But at any rate, we are at the end, Dean, here of our hour on Friday. We've reviewed the week.
Thanks, buddy.
It's been another great week for humanity, though humanity has endured for another week. So that's a victory of sorts in these troubled times. And we'll have more to talk about next week on Sunday. You'll be rating the Sunday shows, and it'll be published on the Save America channels, on the Dean Blundell channel. And I'll be sharing that, and we'll be discussing that on Monday. So we'll be giving grades, we'll be taking names, and we will be watching closely.
Yes, and we're going to hand out bricks and bouquets. Listen, when we're critiquing what could be possibly the biggest nightmare scenario in America's information warfare scenario, we have to give bouquets as well. But the reason why we're doing this, and the reason why Steve and I get together, it's like number one, number two in the list of conversations that we normally have privately. It's why isn't this getting talked about? And that's the purpose of the Sunday show roundup, Sunday news. We do dead air every Monday. I'll be delivering a grade card, scorecard. We're going to come back and we're going to refine the process and show you what you missed, give you the reasoning why you missed it, and then we're going to show you why you need to be paying attention to us and not to them. That's the purposes of Dead Air. I want to thank you, Steve, for having me. I encourage everybody, all my followers, make sure you hit Steve Schmidt, the warning. Please follow this man. Yeah, dude. And I'll see you on Monday. And I think on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, mistaken, I think we might be at a Jays game too on Monday, I believe.
All right, everybody
we'll
out
work it out.
there, check out SAM, the SaveAmericaMovement.org. It's a group worth joining, worth supporting, a group out there in the fight. I'll be speaking this weekend at the No Kings March in Santa Monica, and see all of you on Monday. Have a good weekend.